Welcome to Crystalline Exploration. I'm your host, Jill Roberts, and today I want to explain the show and what we're going to be talking about. I am obsessed with stones, crystals, metaphysics in general. I am a certified evidential medium. I am a certified crystal healer, a shaman, a light worker, basically. I don't like to put labels, but just to give you an idea of my background. And I'm creating this podcast just for you to deal with crystals. I'll be going over certain crystals that I find incredibly interesting, maybe not as common, and what they can be used for, emotionally, spiritually, physically, you name it. So I'll be doing segments on certain stones and places where you can pick them up. And if you're interested in any of the other work I do, you can always get in touch and we'll take it from there. So today, I just want to talk briefly about crystals and what they do and what they are. You know, they can help establish a connection and a relationship with this world for us. You know, if we were only looking at crystals because they're pretty, well then we'd be happy with glass. We're also very interested in what crystals can not only do for us, but help us to get through certain things, whether it's grieving or bad habits or just the stressful, mundane, everyday life. And my motto is we all deserve to live extraordinary lives, and we do. And I do this by using crystals in meditation, in channeling. They raise my vibration. They expand my consciousness. They ground me to the earth. I mean, there's just so many different stones, and they have so many different uses. It's just amazing. It's to put it quite mildly. I want to start with a poem that Robert Simmons puts in one of his books, and one of my favorite books of his, besides the Book of Stones with Naisha Ashian, is Stones of the New Consciousness. And that's the other thing I'd like to do, is work with stones that are going to expand our consciousness and get us to dig deep within ourselves to figure out who we are, why we're here, and remember who we are at core level, at soul level. So, the poem is called A Chunk of Amethyst, and it's written by Robert Bly. Held up to the window light, the amethyst has elegant corridors that give it and take light. The discipline of its many planes suggests that there is no use in trying to live forever. Its exterior is jagged, but in the inner house, all is in order. Its corridors become ledges, solidified thoughts that pass each other. The chunk of amethyst is a cool thing, hard as a dragon's tongue. The sleeping times of the whole human race lie hidden there. When the fingers fold the chunk into the palm hears organ music, the low notes that make the sins of the whole congregation resonate and catch the criminal 5 miles away with a tinge of doubt. With all its planes, its turns 4 or 5 faces towards us at once, and 4 or 5 meanings enter the mind. The exhilaration we felt as children returns. We feel the wind on our face as we go downhill, the sled speed increasing. Having my own sense of physical characteristics and spiritual properties of stones from years of working with them, I love seeing how Bly has come to meet the stone and how he's actually felt its qualities. As it begins, he notices the way the crystal has grown, with its elegant corridors of light. He sees the regularity and calls it discipline. And indeed, it's this regulatory that defines crystallinity in itself. He senses the stone's durability and our durability in comparison with human frailty, saying that the crystal's discipline tells us there is no use in trying to live forever. He recognizes that the inner form of the crystal is orderly, whether it's from its outer form, is regular or not. Then he goes a little bit more inward, noticing the consciousness within the stone as solidified thoughts. Holding the stones has, by this time, awakened the poet's imagination more deeply. Its physical qualities of coolness, hardness, bring him into the mythic, imaginal associations, hard as a dragon's tongue. Intuition becomes involved, and he senses the stone as what we might call a record keeper. The sleeping times of the whole human race lie hidden there. He then begins to sense the stone's spiritual qualities as organ music that brings doubt to one's criminal side. Amethyst is known metaphysically as the stone of spiritual purity and truth, aiding one in letting go of addictions and bad habits, helping one with their third eye chakra and opening their third eye and their psychic and clairsenses. This is resonant with the poet's intuition, though he speaks them more colorfully. In the last section, Bly encounters the stone as a being, and that's what I truly believe, that crystals are energy beings. He meets it. He mentions 4 or 5 faces turning towards him. He describes the enchantment of consciousness the stone brings to the encounter as 4 or 5 meanings enter the mind. He then describes the thrill of recognition that comes when we realize the stone is, in its own way, vibrantly alive. The exhilaration we felt as children returns. We feel the wind on the face as we go downhill, the sled speed increasing. In my own moments of meeting the stones as spiritual soul beings have been moments of such just pure exhilaration. My belief is that it is possible for all of us, when we utilize clear external observation, we can link it to inner willingness, to be led by initiation and imagination, and then we'll experience the opening of the doors to many mansions of the crystal realms. There's so much crystals can do for us. And I hate it because it sounds like such a one-sided thing, but it's really not. I am drawn to certain crystals and stones. For me, it's in my physical body, it's my root chakra grounding me. And my 6th and 7th chakras, the third eye and the crown chakra, as well as the stellar gateway chakras above the head, which are not of the physical body, of course. But what's so interesting is, in order for me to help my clients bring through the person that they're dying to speak to one more time because they're in such grief, or they're just incredibly sad, it's been a long time and they can't remember the face or the sound of their loved one's voice, I utilize crystals in my practice. I take 4, I don't see several clients a day. I'll see 1 client a week for a mediumship reading. And the reason I do that is because I use the crystals, I channel, I higher my vibration, their loved ones lower their vibration, and then I get all the evidentiary information that I need. So I'll channel 3 or 4 times, a couple days leading up to the appointment. And I start from there. I start with who that person is that they want to speak to, what their name is, what they did for a living when they were here on Earth, when they passed, how they passed, but any type of dates that come in could be anniversaries, birthdays, death dates, birth dates. So and what they look like, how they is shown themselves to me. So I utilize all of my clair abilities in channeling ahead of time. And then, of course, it makes it much easier to bring the loved one in while my client is there. So before we even start our 2-hour plus session, which I like to call a conversation because that's exactly what it is. If you truly want to gain the benefits of mediumship and a reading, you don't want a fortune teller. They're vague. They read clues, they go by your age. I want my clients to never have a doubt as that their loved one is there with them, because there's information that there is no way I could possibly know. And I make it a point, if there's a loved one they want to speak to not tell me who that person is, but I give them homework to do with their loved ones, whether it be asking them to come into their dreams at night, or telling them, 2 days and then a day in advance, that they're having a reading at this date, at this time, with whom, and ask their loved one to show up. That reinforces intention. And the other reason I'm bringing mediumship up in Crystalline Exploration is because it's a major tool that I utilize. It's one of the major tools that helps me calm myself down, get into a meditative state, open up all of my chakras, balance them, and open up my clair abilities to be ready to receive. So it is a magnificent feeling to be able to help someone else, to help them through grief and grieving. But I wouldn't be able to do this without these amazing energy beings that are crystals, that are stones. So what we're going to do here on Crystalline Exploration is we're going to go on a journey. And this journey is going to be either stone by stone, color by color, but it's going to deal all with crystals and all with stones. We're also going to do crystal meditations. We're going to talk about crystals and myths and legends. And then, of course, we're going to have interviews with some pretty amazing crystal experts. I have a good friend who is a jeweler in Milan, and she uses rough natural stones. This is a huge pet peeve of mine, because I utilize and I ask my crystals to help me raise my vibration and my energy. I don't like to use tumbled polished stones, because in the tumbling process, to get them look shiny and pretty, it cuts down on their energy by at least half. So if you're looking to buy a certain crystal, a certain stone, always buy it in its natural state. Now, this is my preference, but if you're just looking for a certain crystal to look pretty on a mantle or an altar, or somewhere in your home or office, then tumbled stones are fine for you. If you're looking to work with them, absolutely need to use the crystal in its natural form. I think they're the prettiest that way, because that's how they are here on Earth. So back to the whole reason I got into that was because of my friend who is a jeweler in Milan. She only uses natural rough crystals, and her jewelry is just spectacular. I mean, besides getting the energy off of the jewelry is absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So we will be talking about consciousness in regards to crystals and crystal tools and jewelry, certain grid layouts and body layouts, shamanic journey with stones, massage with stones, healing through them. I can tell you, I've had gallstones for the last 8 years, and I've been utilizing crystals to stop the attacks, besides, of course, seeing my doctors and changing my diet and everything else. But it definitely does not hurt. We're going to talk about how to make crystal wands. And then we're going to talk about some very special crystals. Some of them are part of the 12 very high vibrational crystals. Some of them not. If you're interested in a specific crystal you'd like me to cover, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me at either my website, which is Psychic Medium NYC, that stands for New York City, .com, or info at psychicmediumnyc.com, and let me know what you want to hear. I have Facebook pages, I have groups that you may be interested in, mediumship readings with Jill, and mediumship and spiritual development, and Arthurian magic, or my professional page, which is Jill Roberts, Upper East Side Medium. And you don't need to be on the Upper East Side of Manhattan to partake in any services if you feel the need to. You'll see in the services that everything can be done via Zoom conference with whomever you want there. But this is not a plug for me. This is for you to tell me what you want to hear in this podcast. I have another podcast, Psychic Today with Jill Roberts, but this one I want based on crystals being the main factor. And we're going to explore the crystalline structures and the crystalline matrices and light bodies that we have together. So I hope you join me for this journey, and our next episode will be coming shortly. Stay warm if you're in a cold climate like I am in New York City. If not, stay safe and make it a great day.